Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin, and this is a weather report. I'd like to talk about the weather health stress for July 7th, 2026. We do keep additional graphics at tpatw.com. We also maintain a storefront on Amazon. Looking at the weather picture for Tuesday, we do have two major frontal systems, one stretching all the way from basically Boise and Idaho up to south central Montana, down through South Dakota, back up through Minnesota and up to the Michigan Upper Peninsula. And notice a lot of unsettled weather in the northern plains and really a little trying to make its way down even into the Four Corners. A major frontal system stretching all the way from really the Oklahoma and Texas panhandle, across Dallas, across southern Arkansas, up to Nashville, all the way back up to a little bubble low about Pittsburgh, and then the frontal system swings back to south to the District of Columbia, and then off the New England coast. Again, the unsettled weather pattern will be mostly here in the middle Atlantic states, reaching toward New England, and a lot of activity in the south, but that's just because we have the sizzling summer in the south and lots of moisture from the Gulf just to trigger showers and thunder showers. Looking at our vitality index, you can see we have a little bit going on here in the northern plains. We're trying to show something going on in the Four Corners, but that again is a little moisture trying to finally make its way in. And then we have a moderate to mild threat really across much of the rest of the eastern portions of the country, although New England's sitting there looking rather nice. Pressure change, really, for those having difficulties with pressure change, on Tuesday, the pressure change areas will really be just associated with the northern front and with that south central front extending up to D.C. from Dallas. Those will be the principal areas of pressure change. Otherwise, it's midsummer, mid-July, and it looks like settling down in terms of pressure change. Interestingly, temperature change is also settling down, meaning moving back toward pretty much normal or more summer conditions. It's still warm across the east. It's still pretty hot across the southeast. And note that we're finally trying to get a little bit of heat moving into western Washington, western Oregon, and Idaho, and as always trying to bring some cool air into North Dakota. The differences in dew point temperature and vapor pressure, again, really not anywhere near as dramatic as in most of the other days, especially of the year. July is a pretty benign period, but you can see we have increases in vapor pressure and dew point temperature right along that northern front. So again, a focus of activity, and you can see we still are trying to push some increase in vapor pressure and dew point temperature rise up into the Four Corners a little bit, or trying to get a monsoon circulation moving. Looking at instability, I'd call this overall a general mid-July instability period across most of the south and east, although we do have a little instability up here in the Dakotas, again with that frontal system. Interesting, down here in Florida, we have an area of instability pushing away a little, and that's just because of some differences going on in South Florida. And I'm not sure exactly what's happening down here about Cuba, but there is something trying to develop, I think, here just to the east of the island. Looking at the change in oxygen availability, you can see that we have some migraine risks running down from Vancouver into western Washington, Oregon. We have a small area of migraine threat across southern Idaho. Interesting little area of migraine threat in the central portions of Wyoming, the easternmost portions of Colorado, and note that we are picking up a small migraine area of risk around western South Dakota, but rather widespread across North Dakota, and again we have that frontal boundary. Note we do have a little bit of migraine stress from Dallas sort of toward Austin. Here in, call it northeastern Texas, we have a little bit of migraine risk right along the coastal areas of New Jersey. The asthma and arthritis risk areas, again, western Washington and western Oregon and north and central Idaho. We do have a very unusual asthma and arthritis risk here in Arkansas, a little bit in West Texas, and interesting, and it could either be a bad data point or going along with the instability. Right here in southern Florida, we have an asthma and arthritis risk. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Your comments are appreciated. And if you hurt, tell us where you're located.